Hey guys, in this video I'm going to share with you how I converted my Grizzly 450 into a cold plunge, okay? And there were three main reasons for this. First and foremost, I've seen a lot of the companies that were actually using these Grizzly 450s, but they were actually drilling another hole into it. And to tell you the truth, in a $1,200 cooler, I didn't want to be putting any more holes in it when it already had two. So as you can see in mine, what I did is I just used both the inlet and the outlet holes that were already there, and I plumbed my piping using the existing, so I didn't have to drill any more holes. The second reason was cost. Now you can see this breakdown of what I have as far as the cost, okay? And on mine, I really saved a lot of money because Grizzly kind of made a boo-boo and they sent me an aqua color. As you can see, this is aqua, and I ordered a blue. Well, anyway, make a long story short, we negotiated, and instead of me sending it back, I just took the aqua, but they knocked the extra $300 off, and this thing was already on sale for $1,000. So I got the 450 cooler for $700, so I got a really good deal. But you can see on the list, all in was about $2,200 for me, okay? And you can see that I used an active aqua chiller. I used a Danner pump. Even went with a JED, commercial grade ozone. So I didn't go cheap. I used quality products, and still I came out a lot less. Now, if I had to pay, the $1,000 for it, I would have came about $2,500. That's still, $1,500 less than about the $4,000 that I've seen on some of the sites if you add the ozone, the shipping, the taxes and all that. So so that was one of the bigger reasons, okay? And I'm going to take you around to the back of it and kind of show you kind of what I did. And the third reason is I wanted it to look professional, and I also wanted to have access to, to basically, if something failed, I've seen a lot of these DIYs, but there's no cutoffs, there's no unions, so it's easy to transport. Like when I moved this thing from my garage to here, and I'm about to put it back here where I normally put it, fill it up for water, and I'll show you guys that once I do that, but I just have it here because I've got it jacked up so you guys can see what I did, okay? And but basically, all I have to do is just unhook two unions from the chiller, and I can move it real easily, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the back of the unit, and then we'll take a look at all the plumbing and what I've done back there, and then we'll go from there, okay? All right, guys, the way I got this thing set up is as you can see right now inside the chiller, there's a nozzle, okay? And that's where it comes in from the chiller, and then of course it goes through the drain. It comes out of the drain and it comes around. I do have a cutoff there in case you wanted to drain it. And then basically it comes right through here, okay? Comes right through here, and I've got another cutoff right here, okay? Because what happens if your pump goes out? And I did have this Danner pump, it broke the impeller shaft, okay? So basically, I needed to cut this off and basically have it to where I can work on this. And basically I put a union here and a union here, and I was just able to, just take the pump off and work on it, okay? But if you had it plumbed with no cutoffs, and the union just make it easy, to work on things. So my best advice, for you is to think about and kind of plan out how you want to do it, okay? Because eventually you're going to have to replace stuff. Parts are going to break, and if you have no kind of contingency plan, but just basically cut pipes and redo everything, it may be just a little bit better if you take another hour and kind of plan out and just say, hey, what if this was the fail? What if this was the fail? And maybe add a couple more unions in, and maybe a couple of cutoff valves, and that way you can work on everything without having to drain your plunge, okay? And then basically I also added a ozone to this, and I let that run basically an hour a day. It seems to help keep the water. I had basically a consumer grade ozone machine in my first DIY, and that was just basically a 10.2 cubic foot freezer that I converted, and it would only keep the water clear for about 6 weeks. So now up here, I do have another video that shows you how to keep the water clean, okay? So go check that out, you know, if you have questions about that. But basically, I've got a pre-filter here. Basically, before it goes into the Danner, I got a Danner 950 pump that I put on here, and then basically it comes through here through the filter. I've got one of these are really good. It keeps it from sweating a lot, especially, you know, once the weather gets hot. Here in Georgia, it's 80 degrees today, so that's why I'm about to swap this thing out. And then basically from here, it would go into the chiller. Obviously, I've got this thing set up high, you know, so you guys can see. And then basically this one right here would go into the inlet, okay, back into the cold plunge. So that's basically how I've got it piped. And I also have the one thing I haven't seen, even with the professional companies, I've just got like an L bracket, and this sits on it, okay? And you saw earlier how we just brought it in, and all this is one unit, okay? So it's not like you have to basically unhook your pump and all that when you want to move the whole entire plunge. And so basically, it's just an L bracket, and this just sits on top of it. So you don't have to basically move your pump separately. It all moves as one unit. And down here, I've got a basically just an outdoor box. I mean, I've got a cover up here, but it still gets kind of wet, you know, if we get a lot of rain and, you know, blowing wind. So I've got this. All the wires will run into here, and of course I've got a GFCI. There's a GFCI out here, and another GFCI, and then a cutoff switch here that I have, you know, when I get in it, so nothing is running. So that's basically the setup that I have here. And of course, I got a active aqua chiller. It's just a 1/4 horsepower, but you know, this thing, I mean, it's a cooler, so it keeps the water really cold, and that thing has no problem keeping up. Okay, so anyway, guys, that's kind of the breakdown on, and of course, I've got a timer for the ozone, and it's in a weatherproof box right here, okay? I did have the pump cutting on and off, but now I just let the pump run 24/7, and that seems to work the best. So as far as keeping the cold plunge water clean, okay? Hey guys, I've got it set up now, and I'm about to get in it, and I'll show you kind of size-wise. I'm about 5'9", 170. So here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get in and show you how much room I have. I almost overfilled this thing, but anyway, you can see there's plenty of room to duck. Now, if you're 6'5", 6'4", your knees may be close, and you may have to cross your legs like this, okay? But I'm 5'9", so anyone probably under 6'1" is going to have no problems. You're going to have plenty of room, and it's just a great plunge. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you have any questions, or if you have any comments on better ways to do this, we're all one big family. So please contribute and put your comments in. And thanks a lot for watching the video.